Today we will be discussing vector addition. Vectors have both magnitude and direction, so we not only consider the amount of the vector but also the direction of the vector. So we have an example. We have two forces, two vectors. Vector A is 6 newtons going to the upper right, 32 degrees above the horizontal, and the second force, vector B, 5 newtons going to the upper left with 70 degrees above the horizontal. So to add the vectors, we first need to get its vertical and horizontal component. So I've separated the two forces, the two vectors. So this is vector B. So we need to get the vertical and the horizontal component. So it's easier to move this to the left side and making it into a right triangle. And then using trigonometry, we can get by and bx. So if this is your angle, bx is adjacent and b is the hypotenuse. So the trigonometric function we need to do is cosine. So cosine of 70 degrees is equal to the adjacent, which is bx, over the hypotenuse, which is 5 newtons. Multiplying 5 newtons on both sides, we will have 5 newtons times cosine 70 is equal to bx. So cosine 70, if you use your calculator, will be 0.342 multiplied by 5 newtons is 1.71 newtons going to the left. This is the horizontal component. To get the vertical component, which is this one, so if this is your angle, this is opposite over hypotenuse, so that is sine. So sine 70 is equal to opposite, which is by, the vertical component, over 5 newtons. So multiplying 5 newtons on both sides, we get 5 newtons times sine 70 is equal to by. Sine 70 is equal to 0.939. Multiply it by 5 newtons, we get 4.7 newtons. That is your by going upwards. Now we go to the second force. This is your 6 newtons. This is your angle, 32 degrees. So this is your vertical. We can move it to the other side, and then it will form a right triangle. And this is your horizontal component. So first, let's solve for the horizontal component. If this is your angle, this is adjacent to that angle, and then this is the hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse is cosine. So cosine 32 degrees is equal to adjacent, which is ax, over 6 newtons. Multiplying 6 newtons on both sides, we will have 6 newtons times cosine 32 is equal to ax. Cosine 32 degrees is 0.848. Multiplied by 6 newtons, we get 5.1 newtons. That is your horizontal component, ax. To get ay, so if this is your angle, that's opposite. So opposite over hypotenuse is sine. So sine 32 degrees is equal to ay, opposite, over hypotenuse, which is 6 newtons. Multiplying 6 newtons on both sides, we get 6 newtons times sine 32 degrees is equal to ay. Sine 32 degrees is 0.530. Multiplied by 6 newtons, we get 3.18 newtons going upward. That is your vertical component for A. Now we can combine all the horizontal component and then combine the vertical component. So this is your horizontal component, ax plus bx. So your ax is this one, 5.1 newtons going to the right. So this is your AX. Your BX is 1.71 newtons going to the left. So that's negative going to the left. So we put minus. 5.1 newtons minus 1.71 newtons is 3.39 newtons positive. We can now add the vertical component, AY plus BY. So AY is 3.80 newtons upward, so it's positive. And then BY, 4.7 newtons, positive as well. So if we add 3.18 plus 4.7, we get 7.88 newtons. So the horizontal is 3.39 newtons, and the vertical is now 7.88 newtons. So we need to combine these two forces to get the resultant force. So we can easily put this one on the other side, making it into a right triangle. And then using the Pythagorean theorem, we can get the combined forces of this horizontal and vertical force. So the Pythagorean theorem, to get R, we need to get the square root of this one squared plus this one squared. So we get the square root of 3.39 newtons squared plus 7.88 newtons, the quantity squared. So 3.39 times itself is 11.49. 7.88 squared is 62.09. So we need to square also the units, so it becomes n squared, newton squared. If you add 11.49 plus 62.09, you get 73.58 newton squared. So if we get the square root, you have 8.58 newtons. This is now the force, the vector after adding the two forces. Now we need to get the angle. To get the angle, we need to use trigonometry again. So this is your angle, and this is opposite that angle, and this is adjacent to that angle. So the function that we need is tangent, opposite over adjacent. So tangent theta, tangent of this one is opposite, which is 7.88 over 3.39 is equal to 2.34. So we need to get the inverse tangent to get the angle. So inverse tangent of 2.324 using your calculator will be 66.72 degrees. So this is your angle.